I guess I film here now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I am That One Punk. I'm back. I moved, as you can probably tell. I'm now living on my own. It's scary. I hate being an adult. But I'm back. I'm finally settled into this place. I can call this place home. And as you can see, I have a nice filming location. I got all these posters on. If you want to see the full apartment, please join the Patreon. Gotta plug it somehow. Anyway, this video has been in the making for a while. I promised it all the way back during my SNCH video, probably even during my VHS ranking, and I just have not had the time dealing with moving, work, the holidays, all that. It was very difficult, but I have the time now, so that's what we're doing. We are diving into the two films that gave me my horrible, horrible childhood drama dealing with aliens. Had to be aliens, didn't it? But before we get into that, I have a special announcement. 3 of my Patreon spots have been taken in the deal. In case you don't know the deal, if you become a channel member or patron, you get to decide the next video I make. I have 3 patrons, so there are only 2 spots left. The next 2 people to sign up as a channel member or patron will be able to dictate the next video. The next 3 videos I make will be supplied by those 3 patron members, so get in while you can. But without further ado, let's get into our first film, Fire in the Sky.
It's become the most famous case of UFO abduction ever reported.
This movie, based on the real-life Travis Walton incident, we'll get into that in a second, was boring. It wasn't for me. I can see why people would like it. Crime dramas, true crime dramas, tend to be very popular. Not for me, though. If I'm watching a crime drama, I want it to be super stylized, super over the top. This was not it. Other than the actual abduction scene and the thing we'll get into later, this was a real slog to get through. But as a quick summary, in the 1970s, a group of loggers, lumberjacks, I don't know the correct term, were out working in the woods when, during their ride back, they noticed a giant UFO, and like a fucking idiot, Travis Walton decided to go out and stand under it, to which he was knocked out by some sort of laser beam. They left, and then his best friend decided to go back, to which Travis Walton was gone. He was officially missing for 5 days until he called his sister on a payphone, to which they picked him up, and he claimed to have been abducted by aliens, writing his story, giving it to some newspaper tabloid, writing a book, of which I have not read yet. I do want to, but I haven't gotten around to it, because it is kind of hard to find, low-key. And it became like a whole national thing. And eventually, based off the book he wrote, they made this film. This very, very boring film. Listen, when you have a story all about alien abduction, I want to see the fucking aliens, right? Like, that's what I want. And you only gave it to me for like 5 minutes. You're not here to see my review on the movie, I'm sure. You're here to tell me, but you're not here to hear my review on the movie, are you? You're here to hear about how it traumatized me as a child. So let's get to it. I didn't see this full movie as a child. I probably would have turned it off halfway through, because boring. But I did see one particular scene as a child, and it scarred me. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the most famous scene from this movie, and it is Travis Walton awaking in the mothership and finding his aliens. This scene, to this day, will give me nightmares. It's so well done. Doesn't belong in this movie. Very strange that it's in this movie, but So Travis Walton wakes up in his little chamber, and he's like, I don't like it in here. Fair. And he flies off into the mothership and finds all this stuff, and then he sees his keys, and he's like, well, obviously I gotta get my keys. How am I gonna get out of here? And then he finds these spacesuits. I love this idea, by the way, that like aliens, the Greys as we know them, they don't actually look like that. That's just their spacesuits. It's a really simple idea, but I really love it. And then one of the spacesuits comes alive, and he kicks it, and the alien's like, well, "Fuck you, then," and they start experimenting on him, and it's horrifying. It's like actually, it's so horrifying. The idea that these beings from another world would treat you just like an experiment, like you're not a person. It's fucking terrifying, and that I have this real, what's it called, for throat stuff. I have a really bad gag reflex. I'd make a terrible girlfriend, but when I see people choking, I can't handle it. Like, that's too much for me. Like, that's how bad my gag reflex is. And there's a point where Travis is screaming, and they put this shit in his mouth and just shove a tube down there and like even, yeah, even just thinking about it makes me fucking gag. I hate it so much. It's so bad. And as a kid, you hear, "Oh, this is from a true story." That's terrifying that this happened to this dude. Like, what the fuck? Didn't sit well in my little kid brain. It was bad. Didn't much care for it, I'd say. But that's really the only thing that traumatized me in this movie. The rest, I literally just watched it at like 2 times speed because I was so fucking bored. The only thing they handled well were the actual alien scenes and Travis's like PTSD of the whole thing. I can't remember the actor's name, but I think he did a great job with that. Other than that, it was really boring. As far as the true story goes, most people believe it was a hoax. I believed it for a little bit, but looking back into it and really doing my research on it, I think it was a hoax. I'll probably do a full video on it at some point because it is still a really interesting story. Way more interesting than most other alien abduction stories I read. But I'm on the side that it was a hoax. When you read into it and read the type of person Travis Walton was, you kind of see it. You kind of figure it out that it probably wasn't real. Either way, they made the scariest non-horror scene of all time, so bravo. What was the other movie that terrified me as a child, you ask? It's a weird question to ask, but I guess in the context of this video it's fine. It was a little-known found footage film called The McPherson Tape, or UFO Abduction, or Innocently Kept. I know it as The McPherson Tape. That's what it says on my fucking Blu-ray. I personally consider this the first found footage movie ever, because Blair Witch came out a solid 10 years after this movie, and Cannibal Holocaust sucks, and I will not give it any recognition. So yeah, McPherson Tape is the first found footage movie. As much as I really like this movie, I think the story of its production is super interesting, so I'm going to give you a little rundown on that. So this was a super low budget movie. I think it was made for like $800. $800 or $8,000? One of those two. I know there's a big difference, but in the world of movie making, no matter what, that's pretty fucking cheap. And it was all improv. There was no script. All these actors just lived in a cabin for, I think it was like 3 days. They rehearsed once each day, and then they just filmed the entire thing in one go. Really fucking impressive, considering this released in like 1989. That's crazy, but you know, it's never gonna get the recognition it deserves. After shooting wrapped, they sent it to a production company in which, where it was being edited, the building burned down, and they thought every copy was lost, but it turned out one copy made it to a local mom and pop shop. Someone rented it, watched it, took off the end and beginning credits, and sent it to a UFO convention as real. It stayed that way for a long time. There is still a subset of people in the UFO community who believe this was a real incident just passed off as something from Hollywood, but look at these pictures. It wasn't real. Yeah, they're crazy, I know. But let's get into the actual movie. What made people believe it was real? And why did it scare little old me? Well, for one, at the time I watched it, it was just a random video on YouTube, because this was back before, you know, copyright was a huge thing, so people were just uploading full movies like it was nobody's business. And this full movie was just on YouTube, and all the comments were like, yeah, this is real, this actually happened. And being 10 years old, of course I believed them. It doesn't help that every bit of this movie I felt like this was a real family. Like, I think the actors living together for a couple of days really helped bring out the fact that they knew each other, they loved each other, and this was 100% real, authentic. All the interactions feel super real. All the characters feel like they're doing what those people would actually do, like when they just kill an alien and bring its body inside, because what the fuck else are you gonna do with it? And the fact that it was all one take really helps its authenticity. It feels like they were having real conversations and real arguments. It was really well done. I will forever praise this movie for being a found footage movie, because it's not often they're good, but this one is. And I think it scared me more as a kid because of how not flashy it was. What do I mean by that? So the biggest thing I can remember in this movie that I was like, that's impressive, was the spaceship. Because for such a low budget, that spaceship looks pretty good. And the alien costumes, I think they're fine, but in the shit quality that this movie is originally in, they look pretty fucking convincing. And it's this idea that I got as a kid that, like, no matter what this family does, they're doomed from the start. No matter what happens, you know, there's no way they can fight back, because there's mind control involved, and you can shoot an alien, but it's just gonna, you know, do a Clark Kent and sleep for a couple minutes and then get up and be fine. It's scary. It's not, you'd think, when most people think of aliens, they're like, oh, well, if I can kill it, who cares, you know? War of the Worlds. It'll just come in and be fucking idiots and dive by our oxygen. Who cares? But these ones are terrifying to me because they do kill one, and then it just gets up and walks away. Like it didn't even matter. So what the fuck are you gonna do? You and your grandma, who just wants to play Go Fish for some fucking reason. I don't know. Am I doing a bad job at explaining why this scared me? When I watched this movie with friends, this is a short movie, by the way, it's barely an hour. But when I watch it with friends, they don't seem to get that same fear I got out of it when I was a kid, and I think it's because I thought it was real. Thinking that this was real, and the convincing performances and everything, I think that just changed everything. I think that even now, as an adult, when I go back and watch this movie, there's some bit of fear in me, because I believe it's real. There's some part of my brain that thinks it's real. Even though I've seen behind the scenes footage, I know who the director is. I know all these people are still alive. Some of them probably aren't. I know most of these people are probably still alive. But there you go. This is a very convincing movie. And if you saw the whole thing when you were 10 years old, and everyone in the comments said, yeah, this is real, you'd probably be a little scaredy boy too, wouldn't you? Quick fire round. Why else am I scared of aliens? The movie Alien. Yep, I don't need to explain that. No joke, the Scooby-Doo movie where they fight aliens, little kid me wasn't too happy with that. And there's something else. I didn't like E.T. E.T. kind of scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. His design is not cuddly or fun or anything. It's terrifying. And Steven Spielberg, you know what you did. You deserve to be in jail. I'm not talking about The Island. I'm talking about that specific movie. Yeah, that's why I'm scared of aliens, because of one really impressive movie and one kind of okay movie. This was a better idea in my head. Anyway, that's it. That's me explaining my childhood traumas. Well, not the real trauma. You got paid to hear all that. Hey, guess what? I now got 2 people to shout out because they're my patrons. Crazy, I know. People are giving me money. It's wild. But shout out to Bunnet and Ghostly Caden for signing up at the $3 and $5 tier. I am forever grateful. I mean, you could be grateful too. I don't fucking know. A special shout out to Bunnet because she is my girlfriend and I love her and she is so supportive. I love you. But hey, that's about it from me. How you like the new filming space? I think it looks aesthetic, you know. It's got stuff, you know. I have a proper mic now. That's crazy. You can probably actually fucking hear what I'm saying now. I got my dead bird's feathers. It's a lot sadder than it really is. You know, just something to remember him by. Got cool posters. Got Spider-Man 2, best Spider-Man. No effects. Rest in peace. They didn't die, but you know the band's leaving. bunch of straight edge bands over here, and I fucking NXT up there, and then I got Ninja Turtles back there, and I got people I'm not proud to have signatures of anymore. But yeah, I'm excited to be filming here because I can run on my own schedule. I live on my own. I don't have to worry about other people. I can actually film in a space where I'm comfortable. I'm home. This is very nice. If you want to see a full apartment tour, remember that will be for channel members and patrons only. Links in the description, or just hit that thanks button down below. With all that being said, I've been That One Punk. Peace.